guys, and welcome back to the Revolution YouTube channel. My name is Rachel Leary, or Rach Leary, kind of on most platforms, as I'm sure you guys may already know. And today I'm here to talk to you about the Bake Off. And no, I'm not talking about the TV show, I am talking about baking. Revolution Makeup has come out with an extended shade range of their best-selling loose powder. If you guys watch my YouTube channel, you will have seen I've raved about their lace loose powder. The formula of it is just like nothing I've used. And for just £5, the quality of this literally blows my mind. But not only have they extended the shade range, they have come out with a Bake and Blot pressed powder, because baking isn't for everyone. Sometimes it differs with skin types or just general preference, and sometimes a pressed powder is just a little bit easier to carry around with you if you have maybe slightly oilier skin and you need to kind of blot on the go. A pressed powder is your new best friend. Not only have they just come out with the makeup, they've come out with the tool as well. We have the new Bake and Finish brush from Revolution. We have a sponge one end to apply the powder, and you can see I've already used it, but a tapered fluffy end to brush the powder away. So what we want to know is whether or not you prefer to bake at home or blot on the go. I'm going to go through all of the new shades and the old ones of the powders to give you a little idea of which one maybe you might be, show you the texture, explain the differences, all that good stuff, and then I'm going to let you guys know what team I am on and demonstrate how to use the powder. So before we jump into the demo, let me talk you through them. Okay, so when it comes to using a loose powder, I feel like it's definitely easier to bake at home. Applying a loose powder when you're out and about isn't always easy. And if you're like me and have more normal to drier skin, just using a loose translucent powder at home is enough for me to just kind of have my face set and it be set all day. I also find using a loose powder is kind of the most effective way of brightening my skin as well underneath my eyes. And that's because the most effective way to use a loose translucent powder, especially for baking purposes, is to apply a heavy-ish, not too much, but a heavy coat in the places that you want to set in place and brighten. So for me, usually that is underneath the eye, and if I want to sharpen up a contour. And you want to leave it on for a good few minutes, or like 3 to 5 minutes. That's a little tip if you've been trying to bake at home but you're still finding maybe your makeup's not lasting as long as you want to. It might be due to the fact that if you're just applying the loose powder and then brushing it away quite quickly, you haven't really let it do its thing. It needs time to just kind of soak in, set everything in place, and just really lock everything in. So the new brush that they've come out with is perfect for this. You want to make sure that with like most sponges, you want to dampen the sponge. That way it really helps to like push it into the skin. And when you pick up a heavy amount of powder, which is what you kind of should do in terms of baking, it just makes sure that it applies the most kind of even way possible. I love the fact that both ends are tapered, so they have like a little point. It just makes it so much easier to get under the eye and just get really straight lines in all the places that you want to sharpen up, brighten, everything that I said previously. Or if you kind of just want a more natural finish, so you feel like you like a loose powder but you don't use it for baking, you just kind of use it to set everything in place, the fluffier brush just definitely gives a more natural finish, just like a light dusting. I kind of use this end to brush away the heavy baking with the sponge, but feel free, like just because it's a loose powder and I'm saying it's about baking, you don't always have to bake with it. Loose powders are really great for just setting everything in place as well, really lightly, so you can just take the fluffy brush and dust it all over your face. Now, let me talk to you about the new shades. I feel like they have been super inclusive here, so here we go. First of all, we have translucent. Now this is just kind of a universal shade and it works for all skin tones. As you can see, it's like a really finely milled loose powder, so perfect for baking or dusting. Now we get on to the new colors. So here we have the shade white, which is perfect for like the fairest of skin tones, or I feel this is perfect to mix in with maybe some of the other shades if you really want that bright look. Then we have Banana Light, which is my new favorite. It's a really super pale yellow shade, perfect for brightening on light skin tones. Then we have their iconic Banana Powder. This is an original shade and it's perfect for brightening for sort of more medium skin tones. Then we have Banana Deep. This is definitely a more deeper yellow, perfect for brightening medium to slightly darker skin tones. Then we have my original fave, the Lace Loose Powder. This is kind of, I just feel like perfect for sort of more medium skin tones all over the skin. Next is the shade Beige, and I feel like this is for more sort of warm medium skin tones. Then we have the shade Peach. which is a really good color balancing shade for medium to darker skin tones, because you can still color balance with powder, girl. It's still super important. We also have the shade Orange, which is good for color balancing, but definitely obviously for more of the darker skin tones. And finally, we have the shade Deep Dark for more of the dark and deep skin tones. So they are all of the new, I say new, some new loose baking powder shades, which I am so excited for. I feel like there is definitely like something for pretty much everyone included in there. But if baking is not for you, because, you know, like I said, sometimes it's just not for everyone, and some people prefer a pressed powder formula, we now have the new Revolution Bake and Blot powders. So I feel like pressed powders are more for people that like a little bit more control over their coverage and on-the-go touch-ups. And I feel if you have slightly more oilier skin, these are like your best friend to just pop in your makeup bag and carry around with you, as they're really good for kind of absorbing oils throughout the day. But if you're like me, I actually prefer to bake at home, but then I'll always just bring a little pressed powder out with me just in case, and just to make sure everyone's set, or it's more maybe for my friends. I am that girl that brings something for everyone. So this brush also works well with the pressed powders for, again, a light dusting, or if you like more of the coverage, to use the sponge. This one is also obviously a little less messy. That is what puts a lot of people off about loose powders, because this is just all pressed into one place. But they basically have something for either party now. So whatever floats your boat, whatever suits you, there's something for you to try. So again, with the new shades, let me talk you through them. We have Banana, which is amazing for brightening on medium skin tones, as I said before. We have Banana Deep, again, perfect for brightening on medium to dark skin tones. We have Beige, which is good for warm medium skin tones. Dark Deep for more of the darker and deeper skin tones. We now have a pressed version of the Lace, which I feel like I'm gonna love, which is for medium skin tones. Orange in the pressed form, which is good for color balancing on the dark skin tones. A pressed form of Peach for color balancing for medium to dark skin tones. We have Translucent, which is for all skin tones, which again, I feel like I'm going to be loving this one. And we have a pressed white powder for the fairest of skin tones, but again, I feel like this could be used in possibly maybe like drag makeup and stuff, just people that really love to brighten up underneath, like stage makeup, that kind of thing. White powders, I know, are like a necessity. But now I've shown you all the shades and explained a little bit more about the differences, I can now show you my personal preference, the shade that I'm using, and just a few more techniques in how I set my skin. So let's go. Okay, so I've just gone ahead and done all my makeup and all like the cream side of the makeup, because you want to make sure you've got all the cream products that you plan to use out of the way before you put any powder on your skin. So for me, when it comes to setting my makeup, I definitely prefer to bake at home. And I think this is just because I have kind of more naturally normal to dry skin, so my skin doesn't really tend to get too oily throughout the day where I feel I need to continuously like blot on the go. So loose powders definitely work more for me. So like I said, if you have slightly more oilier skin, maybe bake at home, but bring a little blotting powder out with you to touch up throughout the day. So the shade of baking powder I'm going to be using is a Banana Light. As you guys know previously, I loved the shade Lace that they have. It's a slightly more pinker undertone. I feel like that shade gives me like a really flawless finish, kind of helps to just bring everything together. But today I'm kind of vibing a little bit of a brighter under eye, and yellow undertones are really good for brightening, so I'm so happy that they've come out with the shade. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the new Revolution Bake and Finish brush. As you can see, it has a sponge on one end and a really fluffy yet kind of tapered powder brush on the other. So I'm just gonna pop a bit of the powder onto a surface, and I'm gonna go in with the sponge side first. I love the like taperedness of the sponge. It's gonna really like allow me to get underneath and in all those hard to get places. So I'm just gonna press this onto the skin, and you wanna apply it fairly heavily, because when you use a sponge, sometimes it can take up some of that product. And I feel like a sponge just really allows you to press it into the skin and it really work with the creams, really just like set everything in place, girl. Same again on the other side. Just all the places that you want to set and brighten. Ooh, girl. we be cooking. And I'm also just gonna use this to really sharpen up my contour as well. This is another place that I really love to bake. And that sponge makes it so easy to apply there. I always feel like I need to set on my chin as well, and then just a little bit on my forehead. Essentially just anywhere that you put concealer or that you find has maybe like the most movement throughout the day. I feel like those places are different for everyone, like so. Now I'm gonna go ahead and let this bake for a good few minutes. If you're finding that you feel like you are baking at home but like your makeup's still not lasting, try and just leave the powder on for like a good few minutes to like maybe even 5 minutes, just so it can really get to work and do its thing. So I'm gonna go ahead and let myself bake, let myself cook a little bit, and then get ready to wipe it away. Okay, I feel sufficiently baked, so I'm now gonna take the other end of the bake and finish brush and we're gonna use this to wipe everything away. Get ready to see the difference. Now I feel like I just want to zoom you in after I've now like just brushed that off of my face and just show you the like flawless effect that this powder gives. I told you guys about the lace powder that I've been using, and the fact that they now do this powder in so many other shades makes me so happy because you have to check this out. Like my skin just feels so set in place for one, which is very important, but two, it doesn't look powdery, it doesn't look cakey, it genuinely, like, am I allowed to say that it looks pretty damn flawless? And it's not like settled in any fine lines or anything like that. The fact that this is only £5 blows my mind. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dust the rest of this powder off of my face, and then I can show you the finished skin. So everything feels sufficiently set in place. Nothing feels too like tight or heavy on my skin, which is one of the most important things that I look for in a powder. I hate those loose powders or any sort of powder that put it on your skin. You can really feel it go like, you know what I mean? And just feels super tight. None of that here, girl. I am obsessed with the way that my skin looks and feels. I feel sufficiently set, like I said. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the rest of my makeup, and then I'll be back to conclude the video. So this is just the rest of the skin and makeup complete. I really hope you guys found this video interesting and helpful. If you've still not found the perfect way or the like right way for your skin to set your makeup, I really hope you learned something new in this video. Let us know in the comment section down below if you prefer to bake at home or blot on the go. Which team are you in? Let us know in the comment section. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you very soon. Bye guys!